Hi, I'm Jean Schumacher, founder of Simply Plant Based, where I have a lot of programs to help you to change your health destiny, including the Weight Loss Advantage, where you can learn to lose weight without dieting, and just recently, the Pregnancy Advantage, where we want to help women get their bodies pregnant ready. And today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Esther Lebeck. She has an amazing journey, and I can't wait to share this with you. So, Esther, thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Just like you to spread the word. It's great
Right?
to be. Thank you very much.
It's right. It's whole food, plant-based living. It's amazing.
It is.
So, I've heard bits and pieces of your journey, but I want to hear the entire thing. So, tell me your story.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it depends on how far you want to go back. I'm quite elderly now in terms of my years, not in terms of my viv and vitality. I'm 76 now. But I guess this real journey of a whole food, plant-based way of eating is only 4 years old. It was 4 years this week that I received Dr. McDougall's book called the McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss, and it changed my life. Like every other dieter, I've been through the ranks, and I don't need to list them all, but I don't think I've missed any,
I
except
don't
I
know.
did.
Did you ever try the tapeworm diet?
No, I did miss that one. I didn't even hear about it.
It's
But
good. They
is it?
actually gave you a sugar pill with tapeworms in it so that
Oh,
you got a tapeworm so that the
boy.
tapeworm would be eating your food.
Wow.
So,
Well, I haven't heard any stories of that being long-term sustainable, so I didn't miss anything. But so anyway, I got that book, and what led me up to being given the book was the fact that, of course, I was morbidly obese. I weighed 257, and my husband and I had just come back from a trip to Ireland. And by the end of that trip, my knees were hurting so much that I could hardly walk from the entry point at the airport to the gate. And Ben had gone on ahead of me, and I still had my luggage to tote. And I just almost in despair wanted to protest and sit down in the middle of that airport and say, I can't take one more step. So I finally, step by step, did make it to the gate, and we came home. And I bounced back a little bit, but I did have a doctor's appointment in July. And he said that with my knees, I needed to lose weight. And before he could even refer me to orthopedics, and I thought, oh my goodness, how much? And he said, I'd have to lose 70 pounds first. Well, that would put me under 200 pounds. And I thought 200 pounds was my goal. And I never thought I would ever go below that, or I thought that was realistic. So I said, what are my options? And he said, well, I can give you knee injections, or you can continue taking your pain medication. Because we had another trip planned in September to go to China. And he said, or you just have to lose the weight. So after my friend gave me that book, I just dove in. And it turned out to be the best book for me because it's the most restrictive. And I have the kind of personality that I need results to keep motivated. And so I couldn't do it slow and easy. And by restricting, the healthy but high fat foods like avocado, seeds, nuts, and olives,
olives.
and soy products, then I maximized my chances for success. So I dove in, and it was amazing to me how quickly the toxins were leaving my body, and my knees shrunk like 4 inches each. And every other disease I had, just dissipated to the point where I'm just totally free now. It's just the most exciting journey. It's better than anything I could imagine.
Isn't it wonderful?
It is. And so as a result, I didn't even have to have my knees replaced. It's just
Yeah.
it's just the weight loss, and then cleaning up my body, cleaning up my home environment, and encouraging my husband. At first he said, well, I could never eat like you. And I said, that's fine. And fortunately, he liked to cook, so he cooked his meals. I was fortunate in that respect, and I did my own. And then it wasn't long, I think maybe between 9 months and a year later, then he joined me too. So now we're just a happy duo, and our whole lives have turned around.
Well,
So
you're
I don't.
lucky. You're lucky that your husband cooks because mine doesn't. He needs a recipe to boil water. So
Okay.
he had really no choice in going plant-based. So
Ah, well, that's a blessing for both of you to do that
yes,
together. Yes.
yes. Well, he
And
reversed multiple sclerosis, my husband.
wow.
So
Wow.
yeah.
And you know what's interesting, Jane? I don't know if I've told enough of that part of the story, but I'm sure we'll ferret it out. But what's interesting, it was 2.5 years ago, I contacted you regarding your thyroid healing. And I didn't know it until recently when Juliana had become a friend of yours and then put us together again, that you were the one that I had talked to back at the beginning of my journey. And I too have healed my thyroid. So here we are
The
connecting
circle,
again. Yes,
the circle.
yes,
So
yeah,
yeah, no, and you can. And most doctors don't know that you can heal your thyroid. Sometimes, not all the time,
yes,
but it's through the plant-based lifestyle.
right. Yeah. I'm kind of careful about saying that because I can't really say what my thyroid condition was at the beginning. I had been on levothyroxine for 30 years, 30 years.
And you
And
got off it.
and I got off of it. But you know, some people have damaged thyroid, so I don't like to put out false hope for each
Yeah.
individual circumstance, but it certainly is worth having your labs done as you lose the weight. Like I started out at 112, and then I went down to 100, and then down to 75, and then 3 years later, I was down to 50. So I said to my doctor, well, I want my body to be its own laboratory. And what would happen if I went off? Because that's the last medicine to go, and I want to be medication free. And he said, well, you might gain some weight back, or you might not have as much energy. And I said, well, I'm willing to try. And if we don't try, we don't know. And he said, okay. He said, go without the medication for 6 weeks and we'll retest you. So I think he retested me and my numbers were like 5.8, as I recall. But we didn't connect back to each other. Well, in the meantime, let's see, several months went by and we went to Dr. McDougall's 3-day program. And I talked to one of the doctors there, told him my story, told him what my numbers were. And he said, I wouldn't put you back on. So eventually I talked to my own doctor again, who is also plant-based at Kaiser. And he said, no, you're doing fine. Oh, as a matter of fact, I continued to lose weight and had more energy than ever. So I'm totally off every medication. And it's just freedom. It's just wonderful. Yes.
Well done. Well done to
Thank
you.
you. Okay.
So how much weight did you lose in this process?
Well, I've always said I lost 130, but that was going as of the first of the year. And the first of the year, I decided, I was kind of working on my spiritual nature too, and I'm trying to go within and learn what I'm about as a person. And I thought, I'm tired of getting on the scale 2, 3, 4 times a day to see what I weigh and letting that outward device decide my emotional state for the day. So January 1st, my New Year's resolution was I'm not going to use the scale. I'm going to listen to my body. I know how to eat fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes. There's no way I can gain weight back again as long as I eat those 4 food groups. And I've also eliminated, sugar, oil, and salt. But nevertheless, so I haven't weighed since the first of the year. Well, just this week was my 4-year anniversary. So I thought, I should wait because Jean's going to interview me and I need to be able to say to her with certainty what I weigh. So now today I weighed 124.0. So I'm down 3 more pounds from, what had been 130 pounds, which was 127. And that's what I've been claiming all this time was 127. So yeah, so being off the scale and I've weighed the last 3 days because Dr. Lyle says a good method is not to weigh every day, but weigh 3 days in a row and then take an average and then wait a whole month and weigh 3 days in a row and take an average and then compare the averages,
Right.
because that's a lot better consistent determination of the true weight, because if you go out to a restaurant, you're going to get salt in your food, your weight's going to change and everything. So yes, I have lost, today I can say I've lost 133 pounds. I had lost 25 pounds before I started. So 155 plus 3, 158 altogether. But I don't like to brag about that much, because I want to be truthful and honest about what I weighed on July 13th of 2016 and what I weigh now at 124. So that's what, 133 pounds on
Well
the
done.
program. Thank you.
Well done. Yeah. I also recommend in the Weight Loss Advantage program we weigh ourselves once a month, and then we put the scale away, because it's a lot more than just the scale.
Oh. And that scale, it can either lead you to cheating or leading you to starvation.
Yeah.
Because, you just want that scale to say the right thing so bad,
Well, and even still, like, I bought a new scale. It's called a Tanita, and it measures 11 different functions or features of you, like BMI. And so I got on the scale. It was like a week later than the first measurement that I'd taken. And I'm like, oh, I should be doing good, because I've, pretty much kept, low caloric density and,
Yeah.
And I got on the scale and I was up a pound, and I was like, I didn't even look past it. I was so upset that I had gained a pound. And so then I went back and looked at the numbers, and I had been increasing my exercise. So my muscle mass had gone up, but my body fat had gone down.
Wow.
So it was reflecting the increase in muscle mass, not that I had gained weight. So that was, it took me some time to get over the scale. I don't like the scale at all, So
that's a good advertisement for that scale. That might be fun to have.
It is, and I do recommend it. I can share with you afterwards, but it's an amazing one. So, well, before you began, you talked about your knees. What other health issues did you face?
Oh my goodness. Where do I start? Okay. Well, first of all, I had high blood pressure, but I was not on medication for that. I was on statins for my cholesterol. I was pre-diabetic. I suffered from GERD, diverticulitis, constipation. My eyesight was getting worse. I had a macular pucker in my eye, and also a condition called defoliation, pseudo-defoliation, and another one called, I had cataracts. And then I had sleep apnea. I was taking sleeping pills, pain pills for my knee. But, the really strange thing about all that is that if on July 12th you had asked me, are you sick? I would have said no. I didn't think I was sick. I mean, everything was being managed, and I was happy, and we were traveling and going all over the world and having a good time. So I wasn't sick. But when my knees were giving out, you see, that was my crisis, because that was going to, interfere with our ability to move. But was I sick? No, I didn't think I was sick,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, osteoporosis and, all whatever else. But those were the basic things I was on. I had 3 medications: pain medication, sleep medication. Oh, wait, no, there was another one, lithium. I had been on lithium for 30 years. 30 years on lithium and levothyroxine.
Oh, for your thyroid.
Well, the levothyroxine was for the thyroid, but the lithium was for manic depression or something.
Oh.
And
that's gone.
Yes. Well, I never was depressed, but it was really more insurance. I had had some incidences earlier in my life, and I did not want to have another one. So this story I'm telling you for the first time, when I got married to Ben almost 31 years ago, I did not want to have an episode in my new marriage. And so I took lithium as a prophylactic dosage, a very low dosage. But I took that as insurance against having any more incidences in my life. And after being on it for, I guess it was 27 years, and after I'd started this way, I talked to the doctor, and she said, you don't need it anymore. And so I've been off of it for 3 years. Yeah, so I'm off every medication. And
that is so awesome.
Yes, it really is. And it's wonderful to feel naturally high and not be afraid.
Right. No, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, most people don't realize that there are things that you can't easily do when you're overweight. Like you were talking about just walking from,
Yeah.
the terminal with your knees.
Right.
Were there other things that affected your life when you were so overweight?
Not too much, except, getting down on the floor. If I wanted to play with the grandchildren and get down on the floor, getting back up was like an elephant getting back up, or a camel. It was like, if I had a movie camera of me getting back up, it would have been embarrassing. There was that. And I think there were other embarrassing things, like if we visited in someone's home and they had an antique chair, I was cautious about wanting to sit in it. And on the airplane, one time we had to ask for belt extenders, and that was embarrassing. But overall, I like to swim, and we swam all this time. I've always gone swimming. And so it didn't inhibit me too much, health-wise, but emotionally it would, because I was so addicted to food, but I didn't call it food addiction. I had other people I knew who were addicted to drugs or cigarettes or alcohol or even coffee or whatever. But no, food we had to eat, so that wasn't going to be an addiction until I tried going without it. And then I realized how strong the draw was. If I got upset, that would be the thing to go to. And my problem was I moderation is not my friend. I'm an on or off type person.
Yeah.
And if I was going to eat ice cream, I didn't want the run-of-the-mill ice cream. I wanted Ben and Jerry's and the creamiest available. And when it came to candy, I wanted the richest candy, but I wanted to eat the whole pound. But normally it was just, well, I met my husband in his donut shop, and that didn't help either.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, that's another story altogether. Just written a book about that, which came out this year. But yeah, and my husband was obese as well. And so as long as he had the donut shop and we were dating, I had donut and coffee every day for breakfast on the way to work. And so we both were a matched pair. So there wasn't like there was marital pressure on one or the other to lose weight, because we looked good together, and we did everything together. And so we were kind of a balanced act. And my figure was such that even though I was overweight, I was somewhat proportioned. So that helped me carry my weight better. And I used to be 5'7". I think I'm 5'6" now. So I could carry the weight fairly well. I mean, I never dreamed I'd see 139 again. I mean, I weighed that one day in my adult life, and that was a day when I first got married in 1963 as a 19-year-old, And mostly I was in the 140s. I had 2 pregnancies, 2 children, and I only gained 25 with each of those pregnancies. So I was really proud of myself, 165 at delivery, and everything went along well. And then came a divorce and facing the world alone with 2 kids and trying to re-enter the dating game and all of that. I think the fat was a perceived feeling of protection, that as long as I was fat, nobody would be interested. And the problem was sometimes people liked fat women too. So anyway, I continued being between 200 and 282 probably from my early 40s till, I was 72 when I started this. And the glimmer of hope is that, some people think once they've got older that things are set, the metabolism set or the set point set or whatever, but it's not.
No.
It's the food. And once we learn that, there's so much we can eat, there's just so much available out there. It's limited in categories, but I can eat for whatever reason. If I'm emotionally needy, I can go eat a potato. I can eat 5 potatoes. I can eat a pound of potatoes, and I never have to worry again. Never.
Right. It's true. I love that because I can eat.
It's an S.
I don't have to count points. I don't have to count calories.
No.
I eat.
That's right.
I
Eat
eat
until you're satisfied. And even if you don't know you're satisfied, keep on eating. It doesn't matter.
Right.
you just don't get that stuffed feeling anymore.
Right.
That miserable, like Thanksgiving, like, oh my God, I can't move. I'm so full, and the energy levels up, and it's like being born again, if you can relate to that. It's a whole new life. And in fact, my brother teased me and he said, it's like Esther's got a new religion. And I thought, no, but then I thought, well, it is a whole new life. What can you say?
It's a whole new world.
Yes, and when you know better and you do better, then the only thing to do is to start sharing. I'm going to cry because there's so many people hurting.
I know. It's true. It's true. And that's why I think you do what you do. You've got a great Facebook group where you show people what you eat every day because you want to help other people. And that's what I do too. I mean, that's why I stepped out of the classroom after 35 years of teaching. And I'm a good teacher. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a very good teacher. And so I like to teach people about whole food plant-based and what it can do for you. And then connect with people like you who are doing the same thing. Who made the journey.
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. And so after a while, I guess my story got published as a success story with Dr. McDougall. And so one of the gyms said, Esther, you ought to start a group on Facebook. And I said, no, I just don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's so many stars out there that are telling the story and teaching and doing like what you do too, And she said, no, people will know you and it will make a difference. And so I went home, thought about it, and I thought, okay, so what am I going to call it? What am I going to do? And so I just started a group on Facebook called Esther's Nutritional Journey. And it has just grown beyond anything I could have imagined. And so it's not that much different than many of the other groups that are out there, but it is personal, and I do control it to the point that I don't allow people to split hairs about any little differences that we might have. We know it's the food. We know if you follow the calorie density chart like Chef AJ uses and stay to the left of the red line, or if you look at Jeff Novick's chart and stay to the upper side of the green line, whatever, we know the categories that we can thrive on. Right. And so as an added bonus, I do post a word. I think of a word each morning to inspire and motivate. And I expand that word into a little essay, I guess you might call it, and put that on there every day. And then I also post everything that goes into my mouth. I take a picture of everything I eat, whether I slipped up or not. It all gets posted there so you can see how easy it is to eat simply.
Right.
And, you don't need fancy recipes. You can if you like them and you want them. But I feel so free from the other foods that used to call to me that I don't even want to replicate them. I don't even want them in my life. So it's not like I'm still on this journey trying to find the magic food to light up my head like the wrong food used to. No, now what lights up my head is helping other people, getting my mind off of myself, getting myself motivated to just share my story whenever I can with whomever I can. Right. So through the people in my group, they started saying, Esther, you got to write a book, And I said, why would I write a book? I said, you're getting what I would put in my book every day for free. And you can read all these other books that are out there, and all the recipes are out there. And they said, no, you got to write a book. So I just took my daily post from last year and combined them in a book. And
nice.
I called it From Donuts to Potatoes.
I love it.
And it's our love story about how we met and how we've changed our life from eating, the food. And Chef AJ said to Ben, well, what's in a donut? Sugar, oil, salt, flour, everything but the alcohol, I guess. Right. So anyway, that's part of my journey in shedding. So in terms of the book sales, yes, I want the word out there, but all of the other books about how to do the program are much better. This is just my journey and words of encouragement, inspiration. Chef AJ said I should call it Esther's spiritual journey or inspirational journey. But it is published, available on Amazon. But the key is the McDougall program for maximum weight loss, which is what I followed. And vowed very early on my journey that if I followed him like doing a scientific experiment, I would have to follow it nearly 100% to give it the test. And if it passed the test, I wanted to give him all the credit. So I finally got to meet him and have him sign my book at his seminar. So
He's amazing, isn't he?
it is. He is wonderful. He is
Yeah,
wonderful.
for sure.
And everyone is. It's just I think we tend to put on the pedestal the one who is our link to our new life, you know.
Well, if you didn't know, as my humble way of saying thank you to Dr. McDougall for changing my life, I started recording recipes in the Maximum Weight Loss book, and I put him. He's now got him on his website. So,
oh wow!
So all the videos
wow.
that I've made, the cooking videos that are his recipes, are on his website. So,
so
that was my way of saying thank you to him. So because I wanted to help people to learn about cooking this way. So I made cooking videos that literally in like 2 minutes or less show you how to make the dish. So
that's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to pay back to him too, because this is a little honesty on my part. But after I was having so much success, I started going on eBay and buying his books to give away. And then I started feeling a little guilty, like, when you buy them on eBay, it doesn't help him out. And so I thought, what can I do to pay back? I decided I'd take the Starch Solution certification course, and that would give me more information, but I would be paying him too for the course. And then my husband and I and two of my friends, we also went to his 3-day program in Santa Rosa, and we paid back that way. And then I promised that any proceeds from my book above the expenses that I wanted to contribute to his program.
Well, another thing you can do is if you shop on Amazon, it's called Smile. And if you type in smile.amazon, then you can choose what nonprofit group, and his is up there. Yes. So anytime I make purchases, it goes to McDougall.
Wow. Isn't it great to be in the fan base?
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So after you lost your weight, what impact did that have on your life?
Oh, well, other than feeling the relief for having finally found an answer,
right?
I mean, psychologically, it's just a miracle to find out what works and that will sustain myself for life. Well, then, of course, immediately it was wonderful not to have to go to Lane Bryant for clothes. And it was nice to once and for all clean out my closet. I had dresses that I had saved for 20 years, thinking someday I would get down to that size again. But as I lost the weight, I went through that size so fast. I think I was wearing a 24 up to 20. My highest size was a 26, and now I'm a 6. But so, being able to wear normal clothes, being able to even go into a thrift shop and find clothes that were gently used but cheap, as I lost weight, because that was great, because you don't want to invest in clothes when they're not going to be there very long. And let's see, just being, when you hug somebody, you're closer to them. That's kind of a nice feeling. I think the negative sides were kind of being a threat to family members and friends. It's like Dr. Lyle says, when you've left the tribe and you come back, they want to kill you because you're representing something that maybe they're dreaming of doing but haven't been able to do yet. And you're shedding light on what's possible, and that makes some people uncomfortable. Much like if you had ever been a drinker, your old friends at the bar really don't want you there. I mean, they might want you there, but maybe you don't tell the same kind of jokes. Maybe you view life a little bit differently, and your personality does change somewhat. But, along with it comes more confidence because you found the answer.
Right.
And there's freedom in that, and there's freedom to be all of who you are, and there's no limit to what you can become, and you can just imagine whatever you want in your life because there's nothing holding you back. So I think even on a spiritual journey, it makes you feel more clear-headed. You can think, you're not so foggy in your brain, you're quicker in your mind, and you're really more compassionate too. And I'm learning now not to be judgmental of people who are still carrying weight, because I was talking to one man in the gym. He was in the sauna and he was morbidly obese like I had been. And I thought, oh, I want to help this man. And then he told me he weighed 400 pounds. And I thought, wow. And then he told me he used to weigh 700. And here I was judging him by what his current success had brought him to.
Yeah.
So I work on that. And then I keep reminding myself that 4 years ago, I was in the same place. If somebody had just told me, oh, you could lose weight, or started preaching at me, I might not have been receptive either. But but what I can now say is, if your want to is bigger than I can't, you can do anything.
It's true. It's true.
And I encourage people, I say, if you slip up, don't feel guilty. Just know that you're learning, because life is a learning school. And little toddlers, they fall down, they get up all the time and keep walking. And we can learn from them that if we have a bad day, make the next bite a potato, or make the next bite a good one. You don't have to wait until tomorrow or the first of the week or the first of the year to start over. Right. Start over, right away. And forgive yourself, and know you're human, and that you do have that power within you to be what you want. Just want it.
Would you compare drug addiction to food addiction?
I do now. Because I think, and it's not for all people, I would say. I think some people are more sensitive to maybe needing that dopamine or whatever. But like my husband, he's not the food addict that I was. He can eat in moderation. But over the years, he was very morbidly obese too. At one time, he weighed 322 while we were married. And when he finally started the McDougall program, he was about 220, 230. And now he's 160.
Wow. I know my husband is not a food addict. He can take a chocolate bar and bite off a little piece of it, or break off a piece, wrap it back up and put it back in his drawer. And then not think about that chocolate for a week. Yeah, it's like, are you kidding me?
I know. No,
I could never do that. Never.
No.
Never.
So is it a drug for him? I don't say it's for everyone, but for those who are sensitive, for those who have trouble in moderation and have trouble eating the right foods and being satisfied, if it still needs to be that dessert, that rich dessert, to finish a meal. And for me, I knew, it was kind of funny, this is a side story, but Chef AJ had influenced me, and especially when she talked about, if it's in the house, it will be in your mouth. And for me, that's so true. So I had cleaned out the house, except for what Ben was doing, but what he was doing at that time didn't bother me. But I had gone to C's Candy to get some candy for a friend back east, because they can't get it back there. And I was given 3 samples. So I brought those, this was after a year into the program. So I brought those samples home and I hid them in the bathroom, in the cupboard underneath the sink. And as time went on, I was just feeling so proud of myself, like Superwoman, like, oh, once for a while I think about it, it's there, but I'm strong, I can do this. And Chef AJ, it's not true in this sense, it's in the house, but it's not my mouth. But do you know, after a whole year, something, I don't recall what it was, triggered me. And I went in there to get that. And the candy was kind of moist after being in the bathroom for a whole year. And it really didn't taste that good. But because I had elevated that candy to be such a wonderful thing, I couldn't throw it out. And I ate it. So I realized I am vulnerable. That, yes, I did resist for a whole year, but why do I want to tempt fate? Why do I want to see how close I can get to the cliff without falling off? I want to back away from that cliff. I don't even want to be near it. I don't want vegan junk food. I don't want vegan taste-alike meats in my life. I am so glad to be delivered from all that food addiction, that I am free, I am strong, I am healthy, I have a good immune system. I just don't want any part of it. And for those who want it and need it, I don't judge that. That's their bridge. That's their life. But I want this is my experiment. This is my body. I don't want anything to go in there that won't enhance me and keep me on my journey.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think the biggest thing for me was potato chips. And I still, because I know that is a plant-based food. It's just covered with oil and salt. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
So and they're not in my house. I mean, I don't buy them. I'm not around people who eat them. But I remember back, when I was teaching, I stepped out of the classroom after, this is 35 years.
Oh, wow.
And the school had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There was a private school, and they provided breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And at lunchtime, there would be days when they would do like deli day, and they would have potato chips on the, as part of it. And I knew I couldn't stop myself, and I would get a whole big bag of it.
Yeah.
Not a bag, but a whole, bowl of it, and
Yeah.
and then, so I knew that I couldn't go back up there to eat because I can't trust myself, not around potato chips and Frito-Lay's corn chips. Those are my two, like Cape Cod potato chips and Frito-Lay corn chips. Oh my God. No.
Yeah.
But things like Doritos or stuff like that, I can walk away from, but plant, the Cape Cod potato chips and, Frito-Lay corn chips. Nope.
Yeah.
So I just make sure that I'm not in a situation that I will be exposed to them, and I do my best. But we still have family events, where they're there, and it's tough. So I have to make sure that I bring something to those events that are okay. So I bring, something that's a little bit calorically more dense, like the rice crackers, and then I'll get some of the cream cheese, like the Kite Hill. Something that is a huge treat for me, because that won't come into the house. First of all, it's a little bit too much salt for me, but that will never come into the house. But it's like a guilty pleasure that I can have something that's a little bit higher caloric density that's not going to hurt me, like the potato chips or the corn chips.
Oh, yeah.
So that's one of my strategies, is to make sure that I bring something that I can eat. That's a treat for me that I normally would never have in my house.
It's great to find what works. Yeah. That's the key. Find what works for you. And then, like even Dr. Ornish says, what are you willing to do? And some people are willing to go all the way, and some people are willing to go part way. And that's the bottom line. Right. If going halfway works for you and you're happy at that level, glory be,
Well, did you see like loose skin as you started to lose weight? Has that tightened up? Do you still have it? What's going on?
Well, it's hard. I don't know how much you can see, but I mean, my arms, I have loose skin under my arms.
Yeah.
And yes and no. I feel I swim, and I think that helps. During COVID, I wasn't able to swim for about 5 months, at least. I'm getting back into it now as the pool allows us to make a reservation and get back in. Yeah, I have loose skin, but you know what? I haven't seen any studies where anybody dies from loose skin. So I just don't worry about it. And I know it is a concern for younger people who are more concerned about their bodies or whatever. But I appreciate my mind more than my body, and getting my mind clear and clean and being able to think means so much to me. That my body is just what it is. And I look in the mirror and I'm sagging and my legs are more wrinkled than they used to be. And I thought, oh, well, it's just another evolution, Would
but
I
also
go back?
You're pain-free.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
I mean, to wake up every day and not be in pain.
And when we get together with people our age, it's so depressing.
Yeah.
It's so depressing. And I don't even know how to enter the conversation because I feel like a braggart, aches and pains. And it's almost like they glorify them. It's almost like they collect them like marbles. I've got this pain and this pain. And I go to this doctor for this. And I go to this doctor for that.
It used to be in the day, drug, sex, rock and roll back in the day. Now it's like, well, how many drugs are you on?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you say you're not on any. That is just like so rare for somebody your age to be on no medication.
I know. It's just, Oh, and then I didn't tell you about my eyes. I had been seeing the doctor regularly for this macular pucker in my eye. And after I'd been 3 months of eating this way, I had my regular eye checkup. And when I saw him, he said, well, now I was to the point where he could recommend surgery. And I thought, well, I don't like surgery unless it's absolutely necessary. And I said, well, you know what? I said, I just switched eating the way I eat. And I said, I switched over to whole food plant-based diet. And I said, I kind of believe that it's going to help every cell in my body. So I said, is there any urgency to this surgery? And can I put it off for a little while and see how it goes? And he said, yes, you can do that. He said, come back in 6 months. So I came back in 6 months and he said, your eyesight has improved. I came back 6 months later. He said, your eyesight has improved again. And I kept coming back until December 10th of last year. He said, you don't even need to wear glasses. So I still have cataracts. I still have a macular pucker. I still have a pseudo defoliation or exfoliation, whatever it is, that makes having cataracts removed more difficult. But I had my driver's license test, and I don't need to wear glasses for driving. I don't need to wear glasses to read. Only time I put them on is when I'm trying to read the little things on my iPhone when it's dark.
Yeah.
I mean, and I still have all those conditions with my eye, but and maybe one eye's better than the other, and it helps together, that they work together, but I don't even need to wear glasses now.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
I can't think of anything else to cure.
Right? So what does a day of food look like for you?
Well, it varies a lot. Here's what I have. I have 5 things I keep in my refrigerator all the time. Potatoes, sweet potatoes, beans, rice, and oatmeal. So those are my 5 staples. And then I add in fruit and vegetables, from the farmer's market or from the produce department of any store. I don't go fancy. I'm a very simple person. I don't have to go to exotic places to get my food. So like this morning, I actually haven't had breakfast yet. I'm not even hungry. And it's morning. But yesterday I had steel cut oatmeal, and then I add some hemp seed to it simply because I ran out of flaxseed, which I think is healthy to have. And then I make it up 8 servings at a time, so that do batch cooking. I do batch cooking on all of those foods I mentioned, and so it's just whatever I look in the refrigerator and what needs to be eaten before it goes bad. And so, like I said, yesterday I had the oatmeal with hemp seed, and then I had a peach with it because we went to the farmer's market and got about almost 50 peaches and nectarines for $5. So I'm eating a lot of peaches right now because I'm kind of a cheapskate.
There's nothing that beats a ripe peach.
Oh, I know.
Is that the flavor or nectarines? Oh my God.
Yes. And then some of them were like really, really ripe. So I put them in the blender, and then I poured them into the prettiest crystal glass that I have and put it in the freezer. So now I have a treat at night for watching TV, and it takes me 45 minutes to eat this thing because I just scrape it with a spoon because it's, frozen solid. But then,
I got a tip for you. Is I use popsicle molds.
Yes.
And I found them on, Amazon. And it's not much. I mean, it's like maybe if a half a cup at all, maybe less than a cup, half a cup, like a third of a cup in this little popsicle mold. And it makes me think I'm eating something really decadent.
Yes.
So, using that as the popsicle mold, and, it just makes it easier to take out, instead of having to scrape.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but that slows me down and keeps me busy for 45 minutes.
That's true.
So anyway, that was a way of, because you wouldn't want to can fruit that's already bruised, or really ripe, but to eat, and it was more than we could eat right then. So if I freeze it, that popsicle is a great idea. And sometimes I'll mix my oatmeal in with spinach just to get some greens in the morning. And sometimes I'll have sweet potatoes for breakfast, I really love beans and rice. I learned how to do the beans and rice together in the Instant Pot. Yeah. And so they're already mixed together, and I'll just scoop out a cup of that and have that. And so I eat very simply. And the other thing that kind of helps me not want to be tempted to eat other food is because I made a commitment that I take a photo of everything I eat that I put in my group on Facebook. So that keeps me honest, because there's no way I want to why would I want to take a picture of 2 nuts? You know, it's not worth the time to take a picture of it just to eat the 2 nuts. So anyway, so I try to wait until I'm hungry. I try to drink plenty of water every day, but mostly it's like sweet potatoes is my favorite. I love roasting them for an hour in the oven at 400. They're like candy to me. And I like the regular potatoes too. And when you batch cook and you have all this food available, it's just whatever calls your name when you open the refrigerator. You know, reheat. I can make any meal in 2 minutes or less. Because I just take stuff out of the refrigerator, put it in the microwave, and it's ready to go.
I'm not a fan of the microwave. So I'm not a fan of a microwave.
Oh, okay.
So what I use it's called the MiniHot Logic. Have you heard of this?
No.
So the MiniHot Logic is amazing. They have 2 different sizes, and one fits a standard 6-cup Pyrex rectangular dish perfectly. And you can put one of those in it. And it looks like a little lunchbox, actually, that you plug in. And I love this technology. You plug it in, it's on. You unplug it, it's off. That's my kind of technology.
All right.
And so what is awesome about that is, and then they have a 9x13 size that can fit 2 of those dishes in side by side perfectly. So what I'll do is I make my beans and rice, and I'll put them into the little dishes, single serving dishes. And then in the morning when I get up and my husband's gone off to work, I'll put my food, or if he's home working from home, then I'll put our food together into the MiniHot Logic. So that when he gets hungry, he can go down and have food that's already, I like a hot meal. I like a hot meal. So it's already heated and it's hot. I mean, really, it brings it to a nice temperature, especially like soups and things like that. And that's how I did it at work too. When I was teaching in the morning, as soon as I get to school, I'd take the stuff out that needed to heat up and I'd put it into the MiniHot Logic. They also have a plug-in that you can connect to the cigarette lighter of the car.
Oh, wow.
And then converts it to the 110. And so like if we go traveling, I like a hot meal, and I can't eat out at all, when we go traveling. There's just nothing I can have. So I will plan ahead and have the food ready. And as soon as we get in the car in the morning to start our drive, wherever, because usually it's a long distance drive, so then I'll plug that in. And then when I get ready to eat, we stop, and we'll stop at a picnic table or, rest area, or like they have these places along like in New Jersey, whatever, on the turnpike, they have places where, you can stop to go to the bathroom, and then they have tables, so you can come in and sit down and eat your food. And so we'll bring our food in and just sit at tables and eat, and it's perfect. It's, perfect temperature. We eat until we're full, and I know that the food is going to help me, not hurt me.
Yeah.
So the MiniHot Logic is a definite part of our life, and I could not live without it. So I strongly recommend that. And I still use it every day here in the house. Like I said, I get up in the morning, put my food in there, and by the time, like for lunch, now here it's lunchtime, and so after we're done here, I will go and get some beans and rice. And here's another secret tip. It's called sriracha sauce. It's a vegetable.
I do like that. I do
vegetable
like that.
Sriracha. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And so here's my new tip: is I take sriracha sauce and I make soy yogurt, and so I'll add a little bit of soy yogurt to the sriracha sauce, and then I'll add the Westbury mustard, no salt mustard, and I'll mix those together, and it makes almost like a Russian dressing, which I can drizzle on, and I'll put it into a squirt bottle and use it for, put it on, drizzle on potatoes or rice or something like that. Delicious. Just delicious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You are teaching me a lot of new things. Thank you.
My pleasure. So what are some of your favorite meals?
Very simple. It's amazing. My favorite meal would be just a bowl of beans and rice, or a sweet potato eaten with my hands,
Right.
you know. I do like, we make a dump soup. I start out with a can of no salt added diced tomatoes and a can of tomato paste. And then I just start emptying the refrigerator, whatever I have in the Instant Pot with maybe, 6 cups of water, whatever. And that's good and satisfying. Then I use a no salt seasoning, like from Costco. But I eat so simply. When you look at pictures of my food, like on my journey, if you look at what I eat there, you can see, what I'm eating. You say that's a potato, that's a sweet potato, that's a beet, that's carrots, that's asparagus, that's broccoli, that's cauliflower, that's Brussels sprouts. And everything I eat is identifiable and kind of separate. It's not like where you have to follow a recipe, because there are so many people that are really good cooks out there, and they can make food taste just like the old food. And I think that's wonderful. And I just have kind of taken a different tact, that I want to show people who don't like to cook or who don't know how and don't want to learn how they can eat this way, if they can eat simply, and that's okay for them.
Right.
So, I just say, cook the food and eat it. You don't need to know how much of this and how much of that and how much of that to add. So the most complicated thing I make is probably Chef AJ's cauliflower bisque. And you just put everything into the Instant Pot and blend it when it's done. And you can use that as a sauce or as a soup or whatever. But so yeah, just those food groups I talk about is because I love fruit, but on the maximum weight loss, I would limit my fruit to 2 servings a day. It wasn't until later that I kind of learned that we can overdo it on beans as well. So 1 cup a day is recommended on average. So if I go several days without eating beans, then I can eat more beans another time. But anyway, I kind of watched that. But I followed that really closely. And now that I've been at goal weight for over a year, the dilemma is when I post pictures of things I eat now that might not be on the maximum weight loss program, I try to put an asterisk on that item so that people will know that, yes, once you've been at goal weight for 6 months or longer and you're really stable, you can add some of those high calorie, healthy foods back. But Dr. Lyle also warns us that whatever we gave up to get to our ideal weight, we might not be able to add back into our diets again. So I experimented about a month or 2 ago with some avocado and with some tostados things, that were real low in fat. And I realized in 1 month I'd eaten it 9 times. So that probably could be one of my favorite foods. But then I decided, especially not being able to swim for a while, that I didn't need that extra fat. So I haven't been eating as much avocado now. And I stay away from seeds, not seeds. I have gone through spurts where I'll have pumpkin seeds or sunflower seeds. And that I really do like those. They keep my mouth busy, my hand and mouth thing busy. But, they're higher in the fat too, of course. And at church, sometimes they would have all these desserts, but they would have nuts there. So I might pick out 6 almonds and then go take a picture of it, because that's what I was going to eat and sit away from the food table, So yeah, I have always loved fats, a lot. When I used to come home from Costco with the chicken, I would eat all the skin off before the chicken even got cold. I used to love rich ice cream. I loved butter. I loved mayonnaise. I loved all those rich things, But now my palate has changed, and I just feel so free that I just don't want to remind my tongue of what it used to taste like for me.
So what are 3 tips or ideas that our listeners can do right now?
I'd say love yourself. Accept yourself right for who you are, the talents and gifts you already have. Don't make your happiness dependent upon your ability to lose weight. Just love yourself just as you are. And then decide what you want and what you're willing to give up, and to be patient with yourself. But the 3 tips I would think in terms of once you get to that point and you're serious, I'd say be prepared. Always have the food prepared ahead of time so that you never have to take care of hunger in an unhealthy way. Be prepared and be knowledgeable. Learn all you can. Listen to all the podcasts. Listen to the people who have been successful. Read success stories. Want to be one yourself, you know. And so being prepared and being informed, and then believing, I guess, that it is possible. And there's lots of excuses out there, but, you know, it is possible.
Well, you are proof.
Yes.
You are
Yeah.
walking proof, a testimonial to the weight loss advantage, to Dr. McDougall. So
Yes.
amazing, amazing journey. Thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing it with me.
Oh, you're so welcome. I hope that there's enough there to draw from, but it's been a pleasure being here. It's been great getting acquainted with you again, and I look forward to much more sharing.
Me as well. Thank you again.